Gentleman from Michigan, Mr. Walberg.
I thank you, Mr. Chairman. And I probably should hesitate, but I'm not going to. Hearing the opening statements of both the Secretary and the Chairman talking about the great things that were going on and historic successes that are taking place in our economy, I just wanted to make sure that the citizens who might be listening to this hearing don't assume that those statements were taken from the Babylon Bee. I say that in good humor, but I say it in reality, especially when I just read a recent survey that says at least 83% of Americans describe their view of the U.S. economy negatively, and by other measures, Americans are experiencing levels of economic dissatisfaction not seen in years. For only the second time in a half century, more than 3 in 10 respondents said their financial situation was worse off. And I mean, that's the reality of what we're living in right now and the challenges we have. So let me ask you, Secretary Walsh, make a statement here. First, on April 20th, the Department noticed a proposed rule that would require states to use their state merit staff to provide services under the Wagner-Pfizer Act of Employment Services. This one-size-fits-all rule would require all states to use state merit staff regardless of whether states had a longstanding waiver to operate under alternate staffing models such as Colorado, Massachusetts, and my home state of Michigan. The Michigan system of providing employment services has a track record of success, consistently outpacing the national median for performance, and has one of the lowest costs per participant in the country. However, because of this rule, 20 job centers will be forced to close in Michigan, 2 in Detroit alone, and more than 220 jobs will be placed in jeopardy. Secretary Walsh, as you know, the Trump administration issued a rule granting states maximum flexibility in their staffing models to provide employment services. The rule that your agency is now proposing seeks to undo that flexibility, to align employment service with unemployment insurance staffing models. The text argues that this will allow staff to respond to demand for unemployment insurance, which is more important. Quote, I'll personally take employment over unemployment insurance any day. Secretary Walsh, the labor shortage continues to be a challenge for small businesses, with 51% of owners reporting job openings, which matches a 48-year record high. So with all due respect, I believe this rule suggests the administration lacks touch with reality and is focused on keeping people out of work rather than getting people back into good-paying jobs. I hope this isn't the case. And so, Mr. Secretary, with the current workforce crisis facing our country, why is the department proposing to end this flexibility when the change will drive up program costs and harm employers and job seekers by limiting available resources?
Thank you, Congressman. I just, in regards to the rulemaking, because of the deliberative rulemaking process and it's still pending, I'm unable to really provide you with a timetable concerning the final rule or concerning what's in the rule. And as you know, the rules, I can't talk about that.
But you have suggested the ending of that flexibility that was in the last administration's handling of employment issues.
Again, it's in the rulemaking process. I can't get into. I don't know what's in the final rule because the rule is going through the process.
Well, we will submit questions for the record then.
Yes, please. Hoping
at the very least we can get your staff to give us some idea relative to what's going on in this process. Let me move on. I've been disappointed to hear multiple statements from the Department of Labor officials that the department is determined to resurrect some or all of the 2016 fiduciary rule. This was an unmitigated disaster and was invalidated by the Fifth Circuit U.S. Court of Appeals. As you know, the Administrative Procedure Act governs the process by which federal agencies develop and issue regulations. Earlier this year, a lawsuit was filed against the department's Employee Benefits Security Administration alleging that EBSA issued sub-regulatory guidance that amounted to rulemaking and failed to comply with APA requirements. Have you reviewed this suit and EBSA's work on the fiduciary rule, and what's your office doing to ensure that the Department of Labor and EBSA fully comply with APA's requirements?
Thank you very much. when retirement savers receive advice on how to best meet the particular financial needs, they should be able to trust in the advice that they're receiving and understand that's the best interest. We want to make sure that American workers and their families are protected as they save for their retirement. Last year, the Department of Labor allowed a new exemption to go into effect, including protections for advice on rollovers, such as from employees' benefits to IRAs. These types of rollovers often represent a lifetime of savings and deserve better protections. So what we want to do is make sure that the person, the employee or the private citizen is protected. We're also want to make sure that the playing field is level and the level playing field for companies that exist right now.
Well, the court is not in agreement with you on this, and I just am concerned that we're going back after a dead horse, as it were, that will not do what you're suggesting, that I would want to see as well. But we found a better way to do it, and to go backwards is wrong. With that, I yield back.